Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to take a look at some team suggestions for the upcoming Go Bad League meta, the Fossil Cup. In the Fossil Cup, only Pokemon below 1500 CP are allowed and only Water, Rock and Steel types are allowed. So it's going to be a pretty condensed meta compared to the ones we've just had, but I still think it has the potential to be a pretty good one as well. Let's take a look at some teams. The first team is Double Counter User. In a meta where 2 of 3 typings are Steel and Rock, counter users are going to be very good. And the two best ones are Lucario and Escavalier by quite some margin. If you're using these two, you need to be very good against Jellicent, Pelipper and Mawile, which I think are the 3 main counters to them. So I chose to go with Lanturn initially, and I think this is a mistake. I'm gonna explain that more in a bit. But the reason why I went with Lanturn is because I was envisioning you save swapping your Lucario, which is the best save swap in this meta in my opinion, because it can grab shields from pretty much anything. And then if you lure out, say, a Pelipper, you go straight for the Shadow Ball to either grab the shield or switch advantage, probably the shield. Then the Pelipper can overfarm quite a bit before going for the Weather Ball, and then you can just completely nullify the energy with Lanturn. If they counter swap like a Jellicent or a Mawile as well, they can't really do a lot with the energy as well, because Lanturn can just tank it very well. The problem with Lanturn on the lead, and the reason why I don't think this is actually the best team and why you should go with Jellicent instead, is because you're incredibly weak to Mud Boys, especially the ones using Mud Bomb. So I think maybe using Jellicent instead. It is a little bit more rough if, say, you save swap Lucario, they counter swap a Jellicent, which I don't think a lot of people are gonna do, because it's a very annoying bait game for the Jellicent against Lucario, because Lucario has Shadow Ball. But if they do so and they end up coming up with out with a lot of energy on their Jellicent, or even with their Pelipper, Jellicent can't nullify that energy as much as Lanturn can. But I think this makes for a better call. Jellicent Fighting Core is very good in this meta, and I think that would be a better team overall. Also, if you use Lanturn and you save swap Lucario, they counter swap a Escavalier, and they like farm you all the way down, expend 1 shield, which is most likely going to be the case. They come out with more than a Drill Run loaded, and you don't really want to take that on Lanturn. That is a case where Jellicent can nullify the energy better. So I think Jellicent is the better Pokemon to go for with this team. And I think this will be a very good team, and a team you're probably going to see quite a lot, or a type of team you're going to see quite a lot, so be prepared for it. The next team is a double Mudboy team. Once again, in a meta where 2 out of 3 typings are Rock and Steel, Ground is going to do very well. And these Mudboys are very highly rated. I've gone with Ferrothorn as the third one, because you need to be good against Grass, which Ferrothorn does beat all the other grasses. Of course, Ferrothorn itself can be a little bit problematic against this team. It's also good against Jellicent and Pelipper, which can be a little bit annoying for the Mudboys to deal with. So I think this makes for a very good call. I like Shadow Quagsire a lot more than the regular Quagsire, because it just has that little bit more oomph against a lot of things. And it's an absolute nuisance to deal with if you don't have a grass type. It can beat everything other than the grass types in some sort of heal scenario or some sort of bait scenario. Nothing is safe. Nothing can make sure they keep switch advantage as long as it's not a grass type. Even Pelipper. Against a regular Quagsire, Pelipper can just no-shield the first move, win every even shield scenario, even after taking the Stone Edge. But against the Shadow Quagsire, the Stone Edge one-shots it after a bit of Mudshot damage as well. So it just threatens differently, and it's the same with Shadow Swampert. I really like the Shadow version as well, because you can win the 1s and 2s against the Escavalier, straight Hydro Cannon. I think you can win the 2 straight Hydro Cannon with regular Swampert as well, but you also win the 1s here with Shadow Swampert, and you can counter swap the Shadow Swampert onto an Escavalier, which is really huge. And also, it beats Ferrothorn in the 1 shields if you land the bait, like straight up, no energy advantage, and it can also one-shot a Jellicent with the Mudshots adding up as well. So I think it just threatens differently with the Shadow Swampert, which is why I really like it. The issue that can arise with this team, and I think this is a very, very good team, you don't really have a response to a save swap Lucario, because if the Lucario gets 1 counter ahead, it will outpace to the power up punches before you get to the moves with your Shadow Mudboys. And even though Quagsire has Mud Bomb, you're just getting outpaced, you're just getting counted down. So that could be a little bit of an issue with this team, but overall I think this can be a very good team as well. So I'm probably gonna try it out. The next team is with a Steel type on the lead. I prefer Registeel, but Alolan Sandslash can also do a job as long as it's good against Lanturn, or at least decent against Lanturn. And then 2 Pokemon in the back that are good against Mawile, Fighting, and Mudboys, and Pelipper, and Jellicent. This team is more of a I'm sick of seeing the double Fighting and the double Mudboy teams, so I have good responses to it in the back, and I think this might work very well. You can counter swap Pelipper onto Lucario and Jellicent onto Escavalier. Shadow Quagsire, as I explained before, is an absolute nuisance. Like, it is so annoying to deal with on the save swap, no matter what you have, unless you have a grass type. And I don't really like any of the grass types in this meta. I think Pelipper is the best way to deal with it, but if you straight swap in Pelipper, Quagsire only needs to bait once in order to take out the Pelipper, whereas if you stay in with Registeel on the save swap Quagsire, Shadow Quagsire that is, against the regular Quagsire you can just swap in Pelipper and it's fine, but against the Shadow Quagsire you just take the Mud Bomb, go for the Focus Blast, or either bring them very low or grab the shield and then swap in Pelipper, because then the Quagsire needs to bait twice in order to take out the Pelipper. Also, if you have Shadow Gyarados instead of Pelipper, the Quagsire with one Mudshot's advantage can still win it in the 2 shields, but it has to land 2 baits in order to get to the Stone Edge. So that is a little bit better, but still, there really aren't any options. Golisopod is also a Pokemon you can use. You can mix any of these 4 in the backup and use them however you want, but none of them are safe against the Shadow Quagsire. It's such a nuisance to deal with. I think staying in with Registeel to take a move, then go for the Focus Blast to grab the shield, and then swap in Pelipper is the correct way to play it. Even Jellicent, according to the Sims, does beat Quagsire in all even shields, but you need to land the Shadow Ball in order to win that. And that's really difficult down shields. You need to bait twice in order to win that matchup, so I wouldn't feel comfortable with that either. Yeah, I think this team might be good, but yeah, the Quagsire bait game is going to be annoying. The next team is the classic Pelipper double steel line, which I think might work well in this meta, but if there are a lot of double fighting or double Mudboy teams, this team is going to be an absolute disaster. But if the meta shifts in a different direction than what I'm expecting, it might work well. And also, of course, we gotta try different options. You use Registeel to lure out either a Mawile, a Fighter, or a Mudboy, and if I say, if there's more than one of them in the back, you're not winning this game. But if there's only one, you lure it out with Registeel, then you can take care of it with Pelipper, and then you can sweep with Shadow Alolan and Sandslash in the back. I think Shadow Alolan and Sandslash is my preferred option as the second steel type, because you need something that's at least decent against Ferrothorn, whereas Stunfisk is not good against it. I think Shadow Alolan and Sandslash is the better option. Also, Carbink is really not an option, although if you might be thinking about that, because Ferrothorn would just be a nightmare to deal with. But I think this team might be good if there aren't a lot of double fighters and double Mudboys, but maybe not on day one. You might need to read the meta before trying out this team. The next team is my attempt at making a team with Shadow Mawile work. Ferrothorn and Shadow Mawile cover each other very well in this meta, because Ferrothorn is of course very good against all the water types, and Mawile really doesn't like water types. Mawile really only needs to be wary of the water types, but it's very difficult to find a Pokemon that can be safe swapped onto the fighting types, which you need when you have Ferrothorn on the lead, and also lure out the water types for Mawile. I've gone with Swampert because I think it might be able to lure out some of the water types, and also you can safe swap it onto a fighting type like Lucario or Escavalier on the lead. So I think that might work quite well, and then maybe you can save 2 shields for Shadow Mawile. Shadow Mawile does very well in this meta as long as it's not up against the water type, but there might just be a few too many water types for it to be really good. But of course, it's always going to come down to how you read the meta, what you see a lot. If you don't see a lot of water types, if you see a lot of Grass Hole or Razor Leafers or something like that, and steel types, this could work out very well. But again, it comes down to how the meta shapes out. I should also say that this is Fire Fang Mawile. I think that is the best option in this meta for sure. And also all the movesets on the Pokemon in this video are the moves that are suggested by PvPo. So you can find them over there, of course. And of course that is an amazing resource in case you haven't checked it out. The final team is a bit of a fun team, but although it is mostly just for fun, these 3 actually cover each other quite well. It is a triple Shadow meme team, you could call it, I guess, but Swampert and Alolan Sandslash make for a very good core, and Swampert and Skarmory make for a very good core. If you see a lot of Mawiles, you need to lure it out with the Skarmory, I think, so Swampert can deal with it. But if you don't see a lot of Mawile, I think this team could actually be very flexible, and you don't really need to use it as an ABB team. But yeah, I think this could be fun mostly, but it could also work quite well. Of course, triple Shadow, you don't have to use them as Shadow. I think Shadow Swampert and Shadow Alolan Sandslash are better as Shadows, but Skarmory maybe not. According to the Sims, the Skarmory is better as Shadow as well, but I think you can use it however you want. Skarmory might not be the best Pokemon in the meta, but it is a good cover for Swampert. those were the teams. I hope you found them useful, and I wish you the best of luck climbing in the Fossil Cup. Other than that, fun fact of the day, Shadow Swampert is one of the only Pokemon in this meta that can make sure you keep switch advantage against the safe swap Shadow Quagsire, because even down one mud shot, you will be able to win the 2-shield scenario going straight Hydro Cannon. In the zeros and the ones, you need to land an Earthquake, and it is a little bit bait dependent in the 1-shield scenario specifically, but in the 2s, regardless of IVs, one Hydro Cannon plus the mud shots adding up will be enough to take out the Shadow Quagsire, so you can keep switch advantage, which can be pretty huge. Other than that, if you like the video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. And of course, a massive thank you to the members of the channel. Your support is very much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time.